Pregame.com.
UCLA +4 at Arizona. Thursday, ESPN action. Marco, to me, oftentimes the game is a collection of factors, and what the handicapper needs to do is determine which factors are not baked into the line. In this case, I think there's only one factor that matters. Coach Stoops fired from Arizona, new coach, and I strongly believe that the disruption that occurs in such a situation is wildly underestimated by the public. They just think of it like, oh, new coach. But think about how disruptive just a basic thing like moving your moving your house. You're moving from house one to house two. Got to get the cable, got to get the phone, it feels like it goes on for weeks and weeks. Can you tell me, well, maybe I'll ask you the question. How do you look at a situation like this, and do you agree with me that it's underestimated?
Well, I'm going to actually disagree. I think that for the short term, long term I agree with you, but for the short term, I think it gives the team that little boost of energy, that jolt, the wake-up call, whatever it is.
But what's the way? Let's think about college versus pro, because the subtle point that I'm going to make here is that, and it goes unspoken, I think. There's potential racial overtones to this, and people are always sensitive to that. The coaches today in college football have a lot of trouble controlling the kids. It's just a hard fact. Mm-hmm. Is these are kids that oftentimes very rambunctious, alpha males. They have a lot of trouble being controlled. You have a situation here, in the NFL I might agree with you. You have a situation here, what are the odds that this coach is going to end up being the coach? Let me show you.
Zero.
It's zero. This coach, he was the DC when they've lost, 11 of 12 games or whatever, lost 10 of 11 going back to last season. Worst defense in the Pac-12. So worst defense in the Pac-12 with the team. Now the DC becomes the head coach. It's a 0% chance. When we talk bowl games and we talk about when a guy leaves after the regular season, we always talk about one of the key factors is what's the likelihood that he's going to be coached? Because if not, what true discipline does he have? My question to you is, in this spot, these kids, what do they even care? They're not going to lose their scholarship.
Right. In some instances, now again, this is something in the internet is great, and Twitter with beat writers and stuff. There are situations sometimes where the kids do like the guy that's getting the interim tag more than they like the head coach, and it's kind of a rally around. They want him to be the head coach. I can remember back now. It wasn't a firing; it was a leaving. But when Pitt, and this goes to college basketball, when Ben Howland left, the players for Pitt went into the AD's office and really pitched for Jamie Dixon to have a shot to be the head coach of that team. He was the assistant under Howland. They liked him. And, it was at the end of the season, so it wasn't a situation where it carried over. But I've seen in bowl games where the assistant coach got the head coaching job for the bowl game.
Great theoretical conversation. Do you have, clearly on the surface, it seems like that it's an obvious 0% chance this guy's going to be a coach, the long-term coach. Do you have any insight? Let me explain something to you. And I have a little insight. I have some friends around the Stoops family. Is the AD that came in at Arizona, Stoops wasn't his guy.
Right.
And he just was waiting for the chance to fire him. He got it. He fired him. What are the chances that he's going to bring back that Stoops is DC?
Oh, I agree with you in this particular situation.
So let's drill down. We have a situation where it's a lame duck coach the minute he takes the helm. We are starting to understand, I think, the issue with these kids. And let's not forget the disruptive factor. Here's a guy that before, when he spent all of his time and energy on defense, they were the worst defense. Who's coaching the defense right now? Is it him?
No, he's coaching the team. He's going to be an assistant.
So the guy that was below him, let's be honest, this is disruptive.
It is, and I agree with everything you said. One thing that you're not mentioning, though, whether you keep saying he's got zero chance to get this job, and you may be 100% true. And let's just play it that way that you are correct. that means this guy needs a job at the end of the year.
Exactly.
This is his resume. The rest of this season.
I'm sure he's going to try.
Yes, but
no one's doubting he's going to try.
Right, but
the question, I'm sure he was trying when he was DC.
But it's going to be a different level now because definitely his livelihood is on the line here, and this is his stage.
So he's going to try his best.
Right, you're going to get the best effort
but
out of him.
But that doesn't matter. It's the player's effort that matters.
Well,
the given is the coach in a vast majority of cases is trying his best.
I agree. I know it would have made this game.
Sometimes things are so obvious that we don't have to try to complicate them. This is a disruptive set. Now, here's the thing. I don't like UCLA in general. They've only covered 8 of 28 games. I mean, with Neuheisel, clearly this team has underperformed, only covered 8 of 28. They've been having a quarterback shuffle, and now one of them broke his leg. So now you've got a fragile quarterback that's oft injured as the only real legitimate quarterback. One shoulder slam down to the ground, and it's a problem. I agree with all that. I'm not excited about this UCLA team. I just think that there's so much underestimation when it comes to these coaching disruptive changes that I don't think you can play Arizona here. I think you've got to play UCLA or pass. Any final thoughts before I get on
Well, I'll just throw out some numbers to you, just, for the stat geeks here in the game. UCLA has not been a great team in the month of October. The last 3 seasons, 1-9 against the spread in October. Other than the game against Stanford, as bad as Arizona has played, their quarterback has put up huge numbers. They have passed for 378 yards or more in every game this season other than the Stanford game, Arizona. So they're going to put points up. What I wish they would have done, which would have really made this game interesting, because let's face it, these are 2 bottom-run teams of the Pac-10 or Pac-12 now. I can't get used to saying that. They should have made it gladiator style. Not fired Stoops yet. Played this game, and the loser of this game, Neuheisel or Stoops, had the guy come out and just put the sword in him. You're fired. Whoever lost the game, I think you'd have got better ratings. Because Neuheisel's gone at the end of the year, too.
So when you say put the sword in him,
it was a metaphor.
Metaphor.
Okay.
I'm just making sure.
That was a good movie. You know, like Gladiator with Russell Crowe?
Let's do this. I want to talk about that October stat in overtime. So
okay.
let me give my pick, and the pick here is UCLA 34, Arizona 30. That's quite a change, a variance from the spread. I really think there's a huge disruption here, like I talked about. And by the way, this is our Thursday video. Every Thursday, we have a dollar best bet at pregamepros.com. Actually, Vegas runners the dollar on this Thursday. You can get his very best bet on Thursday for $1, pregamepros.com. All right, so let's do this. That's it for the picks. Now, occasionally we go into overtime and dig deeper into a concept. If you're interested in hear about that trend in October and what I think of it, stay tuned. If not, go to our next video at pregame.tv. Here's the thing. I don't like October numbers. And I'd like to get your opinion on this. I don't mind September numbers because really September in that case means early season. Mm-hmm. I get some teams start slow. I like November numbers because November means late season. And we're talking college here. And the same thing in the pros, but December numbers. Some teams, and the Cowboys have been famous recently, fade late. Mm-hmm. October, I'm not sure what that tells us. It feels arbitrary to me. And I think the thing about stats is they can be very few stats or trends are statistically significant. Some people say it takes 600 repetitions for a stat to be significant, though how far it strays from 50% will tell you how many reps you truly need. If you're 100-0, that means something. My question to you is there anything tangible about that October number?
I'm going to disagree with you emphatically on this one. This is, October to me is the purest month of the football season in college football. The reason for that, RJ, is when you look at September numbers, they're always skewed because so many teams play weak teams. And
Except if it's an ATS number, that's built in.
It's built in, but you don't get the true strength of the team because they dominated somebody that's so far superior.
But if they dominate it better than the spread, that's meaningful.
It is, but this is my handicap that I've used for years. When you handicap teams in the month of November, I'm going to jump forward for a second, you have to put another intangible in the handicapping, the psyche of the teams, because some of these teams in that first, second, third week of November, they're already out of bowl contention. Now they're just playing out the string or waiting for their season-ending rivalry game to play their bowl game, so to speak. So you don't have the best effort from both participants.
I understand.
In October, you're in the meat of conference play. Generally, most teams are still live for bowl eligibility, and that's why, to me, I like numbers in October because you're getting strength versus strength of the teams. You're getting total focus from both teams.
So this is a great point. That's why I asked the question, because I didn't see the significance. So what you're saying is that it's the purest or cleanest number that represents the true power ranking of the team. So that's interesting. So if a team does better in October than other months, you could make the case that there's been November circumstances motivationally. You could make the case that, and I'm not sure I agree, you could make the, I don't think that because a line is high, it becomes less meaningful. But I think it's meaningful in a different way, whereas some teams are built, and we've talked about this, to blow out the worst team, and some teams are built to play well against good teams. So I see where September's not as clean. It's a great point. So I've learned something. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, guys. One other thing. We're starting a new thing in the pregame forums. What we're going to do is we're going to start a new thread each week that has every video for that week in it. And all of our video participants, myself included, have made a commitment to answer any and all questions that you ask about the video in that thread. And each week we're going to redirect the thread. If you just go to pregamevideos.com, that will go directly to the thread, and you have our commitment to answer any and all questions. We think it's going to be an exciting thread. Talk to you there.